Hello and welcome to today's video. So today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. We're going away from the big AI companies that are out there and going to one of the smaller ones, offering a very useful service that some of you might want to jump on straight away. And that company is Aleph Alpha. So they're different from the bigger AI companies. They still have a massive large language model, and this one has been trained in many different languages. So it's great at being able to translate pieces of text and be able to provide a service to people that don't live in English speaking countries who want to use a different service. But what we're going to look at today is useful no matter what language you speak. This here is a service that will take your documents and it will analyze them and be able to give you answers to the questions that you ask about it, or to be able to summarize it, or to be able to help you turn it into a little bit of a cheat sheet for your large language model before it writes some text to make sure it writes something relevant and honest. So before we get started, I want to thank all of the subscribers so far that have subscribed to the channel. I really appreciate it. If you like AI, if you want to learn more, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the video, it helps with the algorithm, and drop a comment down below as well. So let's get started. So here we are on the Aleph Alpha Playground. If you think back to when the ChatGPT version was released, just before that, you had the playground where you could just go in and use the basic complete API, and you could use it in the playground without having to build a service on top of it. You could just go in and use it there and only play for credits, which were really cheap compared to subscriptions that are out there. Now, this does a very similar thing. It has the different options here. So it has your complete, explain, Q&A, and summarize. And Q&A is the main one we're going to look at today because it's going to be really useful for you along with summarize. But this complete one, I want to show you something first. So you've got your normal text one. This isn't exactly new. If you take a look at the settings over here, you're able to pop your settings in. You've got your basic templates over here that will give you the main things it can do, and it's already set up to be able to use them and give you the best settings for them. You can type stuff in and get a completion, or, and I love this, you go to the multimodal one here, and you can now drop an image in. So this is really useful. I've got an image here of myself in Kolkata at Iwacha restaurant, and then you press submit, and what it does here is it finds it and it works out what it thinks it is, what it thinks is in there, and it reads the text, so it actually knows what the text says. So if you want to have a photo of a document that you've written and you don't have it online anywhere, take a photo, put it in, and it will try and work out what's in that and what it's sort of talking about. So if you click explain, what it does here is based on the information you've set up in it, it looks and it tells you what it's looking at and what it's making that decision on. So it knows that this is someone here, and this is someone at this restaurant. So it's got the name Iwacha as the main thing it's looking at, and it looks here, it knows the words Michelin's on there, so it's using that in it. And then this person here doesn't know who this is, doesn't know, is this a person who is visiting the restaurant or is it a chef? Thinks it might be a chef, so it says it's a chef at the restaurant. So that's how it comes up with it, and that for me is really, really good. I think it's a great service that you can use. OpenAI will soon be coming out with their own image model. It's going to be multimodal. It's going to have audio, image. It's going to have the video in there as well. Bing are also going to be implementing this in their service. There was an email sent out about that today. But if you take a look at this, you can already use it in Aleph Alpha, and it's a great service to use. Now, Q&A is the main thing we're going to look at. This one here lets you upload document, which means you can have your script if you want. You can have some information that you have transcribed from somewhere. You can have a content brief that's been sent over by your client who you work on a freelance basis for, and you want to be able to get some of the information out of it that you're going to use. If you go to summarize here, what you can do is upload a document. So I've got this document here, which is a blog post I once written. Choosing web hosting provider for internet marketers can be a headache. You then send that off, and what it does is it goes through the document and it works out, okay, what does each part say, and it summarizes each part of it for you. So this is really good if you have a really long document that you need to read and you can't work out what the most important parts are. You get your summary and you can drop that into ChatGPT, and then you can start to look for angles with it or start to turn that into a blog post. Over here in the Q&A, this is the part I really like. If you have a really long document or a series of really long documents that you want to get answers to, and you know you need these answers to be able to write out whatever it is you're going to write. So once you send it off, what it's going to do is going to scan through the document. It's going to try and find any part that may answer that question. So again, this here, word for word, it's got that they should avoid this. But then if we say, what makes a web hosting provider And what it can do there is it will go through again and it will again try and find answers. And what's really good about this is it has so many possible uses. Here we go, Scott. Good advice. You should have this, this, and this. These are three things that you know you're going to need to put into the document. You've got your three avoids, you've got your three good things. Any document that you're writing, you want three takeaways, really. So you have your three avoids, your three good things to look at, and those are things that you want your reader to take away. And this is a way of being able to take your long documents, your content briefs, anything like that, and use them to build an easy way of being able to put together a blog post. And that is great whether you're going to write that blog post manually or whether you're going to write it using a AI tool like ChatGPT or something else. But you've also got other uses you can use this for. So, for example, you have a team of customer service advisors. You know that when they're on the phone, they want to usually go and get answers from people. They want a manager, they want somebody who's more experienced, they don't know how to answer certain questions. If you have a massive document over here, if you have a manual, for example, already that you use when you're training people, you pop this into here and you tell them, right, okay, when you get a customer on and you're stuck, ask it a question, ask it this question, and then it can answer it for them. You've got so many great ways that you can use this product. And this here, for me, considering how cheap it is, and we'll look at that in a second, is a no-brainer to start any sort of service that you are wanting to build. For example, a customer service helper, a something you're going to use if you're on stage and you're stuck and you don't know how to answer a certain question, if you're doing a Q&A yourself, if you are, for example, working with a company and that company wants something to be able to help their staff when they're stuck on calls because they can't pay for the amount of managers that they need if they're going to be getting asked questions every single day. This is going to help with that. And it is a great service because this document can be super long. It can be longer than you could possibly copy and paste into ChatGPT, and it will still be able to use it and still be able to give you really good answers. So let's have a look at the price. So if you take a look here, you can see it's token based, the model pricing, which basically means that it is based on the amount of tokens rather than words that you use. If you don't know what tokens are, watch my video on how ChatGPT works. But for the basis of this, 1,000 tokens is about 720 words in there. So all these prices are based on 1,000 tokens. Your base is similar to the lowest level model on OpenAI. Extended is similar to Curie on AI, and then Supreme is similar to DaVinci on AI. Supreme Control is the DaVinci Instruct model, which was the top model before ChatGPT came along. Then down here, you've got your task-based pricing. Now, your task-based pricing, what that means is when you use, for example, your Q&A or when you use your summarize, it will cost a little bit extra to be able to use those ones than it would do if you were going to be using your basic, normal, complete model. So as it says there, complete is the normal price, but it will cost you 1.1 more to get the output from complete. So the input tokens are 1.0, so your normal price here, but a little bit extra per token for completion outputs. And as we go down, your outputs for all of these cost the same, but Q&A for the input tokens, it costs you a little tiny bit extra for those input tokens because, again, if you were sending over a document, it has to do more computing to be able to convert that into a way that it would understand. You do have your embed, semantic embed, and detokenize on here. Now, those are things that you can't do through the playground. You need to use the API for them. But your embed, again, like I said in my ChatGPT video, that basically takes any long documents and it kind of tokenizes them and puts them into the graph-based, the vector-based database that it's using. And then it uses that to be able to work out how it should answer the questions. So it would speed that up and it would make it better. And it also would just allow you to maybe put a lot more into there and get a quicker response than it would do if you were to use a really long document. The really long documents are still fine. I used a document that was a massive amount of words recently, and it was absolutely fine in there, but it will take a lot longer than it would do if you were to just embed those and allow it to be able to use it in the way that the model already understands, because it doesn't have to convert it into that. So that's the pricing on there. Again, for what it does, it is not massively expensive. And I think especially because your Q&A and your summarize options are far easier to use than if you were going to be using a embed option. OpenAI already offers an embed option. It is really good, but it requires a lot more technical knowledge. So you can build it if you're a developer, and it's a great service to use if you're a developer. You've got your choice then. You can use alphas, you can use OpenAIs. Both are really good. But if you were using that as a non-developer, it's almost a non-starter. You need to pay a developer to do it, or you need to pay for a service that can already do it. On Aleph Alpha, you can, for 1.3%, so a little bit more than the normal tokens, you can go in and just chuck a document into it and start talking to it straight away. So for writers out there, this could be a game changer for you when it comes to getting answers from your briefs or from the long documents you're trying to read through during your research. And it will make it a lot easier for you to start your documents and start building a narrative in your blog posts that readers will like to read. So that is it. That's the video. Thank you for watching all this way through. If you're still here at this point, please drop a like down below. It really helps with the algorithm and gets more people to come to this channel. The more people that come here, the more videos I can do. Also, if you haven't subscribed already, please drop a subscribe down below. I release videos like this all the time that go through different services that you can use to get the best out of AI. And finally, please do drop a comment down below and let me know what you think about Aleph Alpha. If this is something that you are going to use or you have some questions about it, drop a comment down below. Thank you very much again for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.